Hello, happiness abounder, and welcome back. Today I want to talk about being authentic. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, I'm authentic. I'm myself every single day. But have you ever had to walk into a business like networking situation and promote your business but be professional while still being yourself? And have you ever found that kind of a hard balance? What about a new leadership position? Whether it's as a parent, whether it's in the community or in the workplace. There's that raw version of you, and then there's the what I call real version of you. How do you find that balance of being authentic while still balancing professionalism or being the person that you want to be or be the person that you want portrayed to be? And that's what I want to talk about today. And I want to talk about it in two parts. I want to talk about raw versus real. And then I want to talk to you about how you can get to know yourself and be authentic. So first things first, raw versus real. I'm going to share a situation at a very high level, but I think you'll be able to track with me. Now, if you are not in the workplace or not running your own business and you're like, yeah, I don't want to yell at my kids, same kind of thing. So look at this, how it can be applicable to an area in your life where you have to be raw versus real. So I have the opportunity, in the last year I've had this opportunity to coach and mentor new leaders. And one of the most critical things that I can teach them is this definition of raw versus real. Because so often we feel like, now listen closely, we feel like the raw version of us is the real version of us. And when we feel that, a couple of different things happen. Raw versions of us run straight off emotions and initial first reactions. That leads to temper. That leads to discord on your team and distrust. And on the other side of that leads to feeling like you are a bad person, a bad leader, a bad mom, a bad individual, a bad business owner, that you're broken, you're wrong, and that the real quote unquote, which is really the raw version of you is really who you are. And when you think like that, and you're like, I wish I didn't lose my temper on my kids again, then you start to take that in and think that raw version of you is the real version, which is not true, right? So there's raw, which is this first initial reactions, those emotions. Then there is real. And real is how you actually handle it. Okay? I'm going to tell that again. Raw is those initial reactions and emotions. Real is how you really are going to handle it. And that's the real you. So going back to, I've been coaching some new leaders in the past year. Something happens in a team environment that is like, are you serious? Let's say a team member says something that you're like, did you really just say that? Like, that is so off the wall, so wrong, that kind of your first reaction is anger. Your first reaction is like, are you kidding me? And that's that raw initial reaction. It's the eye roll. It's the, oh my gosh, come on, right? But if you did that as a leader, would that team member ever say anything to you ever again? Would they ever be able to step into their best selves in the role? Would they ever be able to think of innovative new things and feel comfortable sharing them with you? No. So just because there's that raw reaction does not mean that's the reaction that you work with. The real reaction is who you want to be. The real reaction is, okay, so this person just said something that makes absolutely zero sense. I can see that they can't see the forest through the trees right now. It's my job to make sure that they feel heard. It's my job to make sure that I listen and take it in, and then I say, oh, well, this is the reasons that we can't do that. I want to be very transparent with you and share the full forest, right? That's real. It's still you, but you're not running off of the raw emotions. So think of this as a parent or as a business owner. Business owner, you have a vendor who drops the ball, right? You want to be mad. You want to tell them, no, right? We're done. But that's the raw version. The real version is, okay, business relationships, burning bridges, professionalism, like, I need to consider all of these things in handling this in a manner that still works for me, is still authentic, is real, but isn't running hot, if you get what I'm saying. As a parent, you're stressed, you're frustrated, you're balancing all of these things, and your children won't hurry up and put on their shoes to get out the door and you're running late. Raw is, can't they see I'm stressed and I'm busy? Why can't they get this together? We have this fight every single day. Why can't they just do it? Real is taking that step back. Just a little, just a second extra, that step back. And teaching them, hey, we need to be getting out the door because we have people relying on us. We have X, Y, and Z. Where are your shoes? Okay, perfect. When we get home, we're going to train on how we can have our shoes in the same spot every day so that we don't run into this again tomorrow. Now, I know that's an ideal situation. Won't happen all the time. But I know that a lot of you who are mothers who listen to this podcast, a lot of you who are business owners, struggle with the raw versus real. So when you're thinking about how to be authentic in any situation, I want you to remember that the raw emotions don't necessarily mean that's the real, authentic you. You can make those choices. So that brings me to my next part, which is getting to know yourself. I am a big fan of quizzes and personality tests and understanding your templates. Because when you can understand those, and sure, like it may not be an exact fit, but if you can read something or take a quiz and be like, okay, personality, these are the strengths, these are the weaknesses. You don't have to take those in, but being aware of them, of that full circle, can help you understand how you tend to handle situations, help you set yourself up for success. So really quickly, I want to share a story. I'm in the middle of doing a challenge, which is extremely hard. I'm sure I will talk about it more. I don't want to go in the details here, but it is something that is very hard. And it is something that a lot of people aren't able to do. So for a month before I started this challenge, I have been planning and preparing and looking at how I function in the world and how I would need this challenge to be set up so that I can be successful. A lot of that comes from knowing myself, knowing my tendencies, knowing my personality traits, knowing my strengths and my weaknesses. I know that I don't function well if it's not a checklist, if it's not a bookend habit or routine. If it's not written down, it doesn't happen for me. That's just how I work. So in setting myself up for success for this challenge, I created, it's 75 days long, I've created a tracking and reporting system for myself with it written down that I can check off every single day to make sure that I have fully encompassed the challenge daily. The only way I will be able to do this is to do that. There's a part that embodies a meal plan. I know that if I say I'm just doing keto, it'll be overwhelming because I will have to remember what's keto, what's not keto, start doing research and understand and learn all these things. So instead I've said for this time frame, I am eating these foods in these orders. I'm not going to go in a great big umbrella. I'm not going to do a machine gun approach. I'm going to be very focused and this is what I will do. Because then that's the least amount of energy and emotional effort on my part so that I can complete this challenge. I know these things about myself because I've gotten to know myself, and that has helped me be the most authentic. So I want to encourage you to assist with the raw versus real, to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, understand your templates and your tendencies. And if I could provide and offer suggestions for 3 very core ways of understanding this, I would highly recommend The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. It's how you deal with inner and outer expectations. Habit building is huge there. I would recommend StrengthsFinder 2.0 to fully understand your top 5 strengths. And then I would recommend the 5 love languages, how you communicate and feel the most joy and connection. Start with those 3 to really get to know yourself and be authentic. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and share on your podcast platform of choice and social media platform of choice as well. But all of that said, have a wonderful day. Get to know yourself, balance that raw versus real, and above everything else, remember, You are capable of happiness abound.